Now it's time to make wall plans. In this phase of the design, you'll really start to learn how a home is constructed from the inside. You'll draw the wall timbers, framing for doors and windows, and details of how components fit together. You'll also begin working in 3D for some of your complex details. Open your house plan and turn your elevations on. Identify the easiest wall, preferably one without doors, windows, or breaks. On this drawing, I'll start with the west wall. Using the elevations as a guide, place the first construction line inset from the end of the wall by the thickness of all exterior components. In other words, all the material that is on the outer side of the framing core. This wall consists of 4-inch thick brick, 1 inch of airspace between the brick and sheathing, then 7/8-inch thick sheathing panels. In total, the exterior components are 5 7/8 inches thick. So with the construction tool activated, pick up the geometry at the bottom corner, drag to the right, being sure to stay on the wall line, type 5 7/8 inches, then hit the enter key, and the construction line anchors to 5 7/8 inches from the corner. Repeat this process for the opposite end. Place a baseline 25 feet below the wall. This line represents the bottom of the bottom sill. The bottom sill is a horizontal 2x4 piece of lumber that supports the studs. Now offset this line by 1.5 inch above to represent the thickness of the 2x4. Offset the bottom of the bottom sill again, but this time by 8 foot above. This line represents the top of the top plate. Now offset this new line by 1.5 inch below to represent the thickness of the 2x4 that is the top plate. Offset this new line another 1.5 inches below to represent another thickness of a 2x4. This creates the double top plate of the wall. On the top line of the top plate, reduce its length by 3.5 inches at each end and make way for the walls behind this wall to tie in. Then cap all sets of lines with vertical line at the ends to complete the timber's form. Next are the studs. Start at one end and draw a single line vertically from the bottom of the top plate to the top of the bottom sill. Offset this line by 1.5 inch to represent the thickness of the 2x4 stud. If you are working in an east-west or west-east orientation, you'll need to temporarily rotate the wall 90 degrees until it is in the north-south or south-north orientation. This is necessary for using the array tool. click the Array tool, which is in the Modify panel. Select the stud and hit Enter. In the command line, several options are available. Type R for row into the dynamic input and select Enter. Dynamic input asks to indicate the number of rows. Type 1 and Enter. Now it asks for you to indicate the distance between rows. Just type Enter to accept what is already in there, and hit Enter again to accept the next request as is. Now there are a number of studs on the wall with blue grips illuminated. In the command line there are still multiple numbers of options. Type S for spacing and hit Enter. Dynamic input asks for the distance between columns. Type 16 inches to place your studs 16 inches on center and click Enter. Then grab the triangular grip in the array and pull until you get close to the end. Stop the array and install one more stud at the very end. You can copy a stud by selecting the array that you just made and clicking Explode, and that will make all segments of lines separate entities again. Now this last stud will be less than 16 inches away from the previous stud, but that is okay, as long as no space exceeds 16 inches. The wall is now complete. The next video I will talk about cutting and framing the doors and windows.